into a new video. And before we get into the video, please go on and click the thumbs up button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Let's go on and get into the video. Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining in tonight to the Wildwoods Beekeeping Podcast. I appreciate everybody joining in tonight. Looks like we got a good following already, so thank you all for joining in. We appreciate y'all. Make sure to go and click the thumbs up button on your way in here. So first, I want to introduce my guest, Lisa Gowan from Grammy's Midwife, Honey, and Homestead. So thank you, Lisa, for joining the podcast tonight. And before we get into some topics I have in my notes, and we will answer questions, if you would just briefly share us a little bit about yourself and how you got into beekeeping, if you could.
Oh, wow. I'll try to give you the long story short version.
Like Greg would say.
I actually got started around, I guess it was during the pandemic. I started stocking up on honey and found a local beekeeper that had some honey, and they were trying to downsize. He's an older gentleman. He just turned 81. I think he'll be 82 soon. And he was asking me if I wanted to start beekeeping. And I was like, don't know about that, but I want your honey. So and I had been watching some beekeepers and everything on YouTube and got interested and wound up buying some of his colonies and got them home. And had the first one swarm on me and didn't catch it. I tried.
Yeah.
But then the second one, I knew the second one was about to swarm. And so I got out there and I split it, not knowing what I was doing. And I wound up with 3 colonies. So it just kind of went from there. And that's what I did. I got the bees, and then I got the chickens, then I got the rabbits. The whole thing.
Right. We hope to get some more chickens soon, but whenever we got our bees, we got some chickens too. Yeah, we've been. Yeah. It's a fun thing. So I want to welcome everybody in. We have Lee, Kodiak Farms, Mike Tangway. Good evening. Thanks for checking in. We have Richard, Collectors Rick's Honeybees. A lot of folks in here. We have Philip, Tim and Hannah, Pastor Larry, and Miss Jan, and Miss Leona. So thank y'all for checking in tonight. Jack and Danae, and Sarah, Happy Hives. So thank you all for joining in tonight. It's really good to see everybody. So, it's been a busy season for us down here in Alabama. It's been really busy. I was out in the bee yard multiple times today adding supers. Still have some type of a nectar flowing going, which I'm still happy about. Bees have been doing really good. So I was going to ask you, and we kind of talked a little bit about before in the back room, but if you could tell us a little bit if you have a flow going and kind of what's still coming in from what you know.
It's kind of slowed down around here. We just did our second extraction last weekend, or not this past weekend, but the weekend before. I did go into a cutout that Jimbo and I did, and it seems to have some aster nectar in there because it smelled like the whole dirty socks. So we don't have goldenrods blooming yet, but there are asters out there. If you see some of the tinier little white flowers, they grow close to the ground. They are a type of aster. But they do smell funny. So when you open your colony and smell that, don't panic. It's okay. It's just stinky aster nectar. But goldenrods, they come a little bit later down here. But I did say my bees have been really busy. I mean, they're bearding, but they've been busy. So I think I went and pulled a frame, I think it was last Friday, to put in the observation hive to take to the farmer's market. And there was some fresh nectar in there. So they're getting something from somewhere.
Same here. It's winding down. I can notice a difference from our privet and tallow flow. It's been winding down, but we still have some fresh nectar coming up and checking. I've been kind of looking around as well, kind of looking for things that's blooming. We have a couple of mimosa trees that have some blooms on them, so
Mhm.
maybe that's something too.
Yeah, they will
But
bring in mimosa. The mimosa is kind of winding down. You can see some
mhm,
blooms here and there,
yeah, that's
but
what
it's winding down. It's mostly what I'm seeing are seed pods now, but the
I,
white aster is blooming.
nice. So let's see. I got some topics here. So I want to ask, how many hives do you have at the moment?
Oh goodness. I think I'm at 24, 23 or 24.
Right. I have 13. Um,
Mhm.
it's pretty busy. It seems I can't believe what these bigger beekeepers how they do it because I'm
I
down
don't
here.
either.
I'm down here with 13 colonies. Busy. They keep me busy. They do.
Well, I have figured out that the more you get, the more intentional you have to be. So when you go into your colonies, you need to go in with a thank you, Jessica. I love it. It's so much better. Um, so yes, it's a very short. It needs trimming, as a matter of fact. But anyway, you do need to be more intentional, especially with our heat here. The heat has just been horrid. Jimbo and I got out yesterday on his property. He's got 9 colonies, and I've got 4 out there. And we got all of those colonies OA'd and did a mite wash. And we had I did a mite wash on mine, and we had about 16 count. So we did our first OA treatment. I really don't want to do anything else right now with the heat, so we'll be doing some OA vaporization. And then we got in the car or the truck and came back over to my house and got the rest of them and OA'd the rest of them. So it's it's very hot here. We are in a heat advisory, so I wouldn't call it a heat wave because I don't think we have heat waves here. We have hot seasons,
Hmm.
and it's just you have to stay hydrated. I think I went through 3 of these yesterday, and not to mention a couple of Gatorades. So you have to really be careful out there.
It gets extremely
Um,
hot down here.
I did get to use my new InstaVape Lite. I have the corded Larabis, and also I bought an Instant Vape Lite last year this year, I guess, at the Bee Expo. And it does really good. There's definitely a learning curve to it. For some reason, it was clogged when we first started, and I didn't try to see if it was not clogged because it was brand new.
Hmm.
And y'all be careful out there with the OA because if you have a clog in your vaporizer, it will blow the top off. And I got burnt in 3 different areas. I had my veil, my glasses, my respirator, and I still got 3 spots where the molten OA hit me on the face. And it was quite warm, but we got the clog cleared out of that. And Jimbo was using the corded vape, and I was using the battery operated vape. And I can say that the battery operated vape did not work as fast as my corded model,
Hmm.
but it's an excellent option for like small beekeepers like myself, um, and it works really good. So if
Okay.
y'all are interested in the Insta Vape Light, I can vouch for it. It works really good.
Awesome. So since we're kind of talking about this, it kind of leads me into one of my topics. If you could just tell us a little bit about kind of how you manage your bees, treatments, feeding, your process.
hmm So, as we all know, technically the beekeeping season starts around August. I say it starts as soon as you take your honey supers off. So, you got to get them ready for wintertime. Um, as soon as I pull my supers, I take a weekend off and try to rest up. And then we go out and start checking for mites and we start treating. Now, here we have to be very careful for temperature sensitive treatments. I mostly use Apiguard, oxalic acid vaporizer, and also I have used Apivar in the past. I did try Formic Pro. I think there's a learning curve to Formic Pro
Mhm.
and getting it at the right time of the season. But I usually hit them 2 or 3 times, maybe 4 or 5 times in the summertime with the oxalic acid to get the counts down. Because as you know now, the bees are starting to breed back. The, the mites are going up. So you need to get on top of the mites before they take a hold. And as soon as the supers come off, I don't typically put feed on them right away. I'll give them a couple of weeks and then I'll start feeding probably around August. And I'll start feeding them some 1-to-1 sugar water with some of my essential oils in them that I use. And when I go into the wintertime, I try to go back into single brood chambers, but I do have a couple out there that are like 1.5, 3 mediums. I've got a couple of double deeps. I've got the horizontal hive. The horizontal hive I split off twice this year, and they actually got honey bound, but they're doing good. But it's you do you kind of just take it step by step. I go in, I try to treat them once a week on the weekends. Um, and then, like I said, I'll feed them come August, probably feed them through November. And then I pretty much take the feed off at that point. And then that's when I'll start. I'll probably in October, we'll put on some Apiguard, maybe even September if it's cool enough. Um, and then I will go into, I'll feed again until November. Usually I get another case of patties, the fondant patties. I usually use Hive Alive fondant patties at the Bee Expo. And when I get home a couple of weeks after the expo, I'll start putting those on, getting ready for spring. And then when spring gets here, I usually go through, I'll usually feed them 2 rounds of the Hive Alive fondant. And come March, I usually start putting supers on. I'll go ahead and get my treatments done in the early spring and check for mites. We had a good mite count this spring, so we did not treat in the spring. And then once the treatments are over, I start putting supers on and getting ready for the honey flow. So we had a really good year this year. I pulled a spring flow. We got about 380 pounds. And then we pulled again 2 weeks ago and I got just about 500 pounds. So I got just under 900 pounds this year of honey.
That's
So if
awesome.
you know anybody who wants any honey, I have plenty.
Yeah, I still have some last year's honey.
I do too. I still have, I think, 2 5-gallon buckets from last year.
Oh,
So, but we also got, let's see, in the spring. Well, next spring we'll be getting ready for the farmers market because we just got approved this year for farmers market here in Ozark. So that's new, and we got a business license and insurance to do cutouts. So we're one of the few licensed and insured bee removal services in the area.
nice.
So we got some exciting things going on here.
Awesome. My next question is: what are some lessons that you have learned with in your beekeeping journey?
Mm, wow. I think I've learned more life lessons than I have about beekeeping.
Hmm.
Um, I think I'm learning I'm learning patience. I'm always learning patience. Everybody is always learning patience, but you can't get too anxious when it comes to bees. Bees are going to do things in their time, not yours. Um, I have learned that there is more to those bees in the box than just some honey.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they do give me some solace when I'm a little anxious. They kind of help ground me. Um, let's see what else. If you want to learn how to treat other people and to be a good human being or even a good Christian, all you got to do is open a bee box. They
Right.
work together. They each have their own task and their own fruit of labor, um, a fruit of the spirit, if you will, that they do. Um, so it's, I guess a lot of it has been learning that we all have a place in life, a place in society, in our work, in our family, and just learning what that place is and how to be the best servant we can be.
Mm-hmm.
Because the bees do, they're there, they're serving, they live to produce the next generation. That's their entire purpose to life, is to just reproduce and provide for the next generation. So it's definitely, there's a life lesson there as well.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I always think about that all the time. Bees do things for the future of our colony, for the next generation, like you said. Absolutely.
Hmm. Absolutely.
That's one good
Also,
topic.
it's taught me a little bit about preparing and getting ready, for things that to happen. I mean, I started canning and preserving food long before I started beekeeping, but it's definitely helped me learn a little bit more, because the bees are so intentional about putting things away to store for the winter. And even here where we don't have very harsh winters, they still have to depend on what they store because we don't have much blooming in the wintertime. We have stuff for pollen. We always have pollen. So I rarely have to worry about pollen feeding or pollen substitute. I think I've used pollen patties maybe once,
Mm-hmm.
but we really just don't have to worry about that here, because they pull pollen all year round. There
My
is
next
always something blooming here. It may not produce nectar, but it produces
is
pollen.
oh yeah, I saw a whole bunch of pollen coming in today. Yeah, they're
Oh yeah.
usually all year. A lot of times we'll have something blooming.
Yeah, the crepe myrtles, they're real popular with to bring in a lot of pollen. The other day we noticed one of my hives out at Jimbo's place. It's they were just bringing in tons and tons of pollen, but now he does have sunflowers out there. Um, he's got cosmos. He put out a pollinator friendly blend on a lot of his property. And he also has deer plots and stuff out there too. So,
Mhm.
they were just bringing in tons of pollen. I bought a couple of pollen collectors to see if I can start collecting some pollen off of them because they bring in so much. They will get pollen bound as well as honey bound here. So that's something else we have to look for.
Oh yeah, my bees will get honey bound and pollen bound too. My
Hmm.
like DC says, I think it's more important to have the pollen, the nectar. We can help with syrup a lot better than pollen sub.
I agree, DC. I mean, the nectar is important, but they also need the nectar to make the bee bread for the brood. So, but you're right. It's a lot. I think it's a lot easier to supplement with sugar water than it is to put pollen substitute out there.
Have to go through on mine and pull pollen frames. I am putting some on top of traps to get them to eat some.
Mm.
My next topic or question do you have any some goals for next year?
I'm learning slowly but surely to make some short-term goals and some long-term goals. Um, as I said, we did get our business license this year. Didra, who has been on several videos with me, she helps me a lot, and she and I have actually partnered in our small business. And we make a lot of soaps, body butters, and things of the such, and they're selling very well at the farmers market. So we got a little overwhelmed trying to do too much into that, and we kind of scaled back a little bit and taking it through a different route. And we're doing the same with beekeeping. We want to build our bees this year. We don't. I'm going to do some late splits. I have 6 queens coming, and I'm going to split off some of my bigger colonies and put new queens in them and raise them through the winter and hopefully sell some nukes next year. So that's the big thing that we have planned for next year, is to sell some nukes.
Mm-hmm. Nice. My next question is going to be, what are some plans to get your bees ready for winter?
Oh, wow. Like I was saying, I'll probably be putting feed on probably as soon as we finish or get close to finishing with the OA treatments. I'll probably put them on a little bit before. But the one cutout that we did, I've already been feeding them. I did cut the comb out from the colony and brought it home. And well, we rubber banded it there on site and then brought it home. But I've been feeding them. I just want to make sure we never brood back. I mean, we'll brood back some here, but I don't remember. I don't know if y'all remember. I got a queen from Greg in Ohio. I named her Pink, and I had Hadassah. And Pink's daughter is in the horizontal hive. Well, Pink, typically they brood back into a very small cluster, these type of bees, but they have gotten so much of, I guess they've learned or gotten adapted to our environment here, that they really don't brood back a lot. And those bees will bust loose in the spring. So you have to stay ahead of them and get them split or add boxes. Now, I just added a box because I was going to do some grafting. It didn't turn out the way I'd hoped. It was more of an experiment. But we were going to set up some mini mating nukes and do that. But right now I'm just working on getting some mini mating nuke frames, the tiny frames of comb drawn out for next year, to hopefully do some queens. But as far as getting ready for winter, there's not a whole lot to do. I put on entrance reducers. I try to do, what does it say? Lisa Grayson, y'all don't have cotton in your area. Oh, yes, we do.
We do have a lot
I
of.
don't have any nearby my apiary, but we have tons of cotton around here,
Mm-hmm.
big cotton areas. I know Ed Brown has put his out near cotton before, and I think Bruce has some that are close to cotton. I would be cautious. I don't know about all the chemicals that they
Mm-hmm.
use to, like, they have the what is it, oh gosh, the word is not coming to my head. It's where they did the defoliate. I don't know about all the different chemicals and stuff. I know that they treat them for boll weevils,
Mm-hmm.
and then they do the defoliant, Jeremy. So I would be cautious about cotton honey in this area because of the pesticides and also the defoliants. I don't know what they would use. I need to do more research on that before I start making honey off of
Mm-hmm.
cotton. But anyway, as far as getting ready for winter here, you just want to feed them and make sure they have enough stores. I lost one colony just after the snowstorm and almost lost another one from starvation and from
Mm-hmm.
the cold. So we don't have to worry too much about wrapping and all that here, but I do put on entrance reducers. I would imagine my nukes, I may wrap those because they will be in those plastic corrugated boxes, the jester boxes. So I may do some insulation of those during the winter time. But usually we don't have too bad weather here. It's mostly rainy in the wintertime. So we just have to make sure that the moisture doesn't collect in the hive. I have in the past put on, I did mountain camp method 1 year. I think it was my second or third year. And I think that helped more with the moisture, the condensation in the colony, than it did feeding the bees. It just kind of clumped up from all the moisture. So, okay, Jeremy says, do it after they start blooming. It's the town favorite here in slow flow, which is great to build up. Yeah, I guess so, because they wouldn't be spraying. I don't guess they would be spraying that on the blooms themselves. They would be spraying that on the actual cotton bolls once they start forming. But yeah, the boll weevil was really bad here, and took out the cotton plantations back in the late 1800s and early 1900s. As a matter of fact, I work in a city or a town called Enterprise, and their mascot is the boll weevil, because it helped George Washington Carver find ways for peanuts. So now they rotate soybeans, cotton, peanuts, and some corn through here. So that's mostly what grows in our area, Jeremy.
Yeah, we have a lot of cotton fields around here too. Not like really, really close by, but probably 10 miles, 5 miles away from here. Some big ones.
Right.
My next question is, let's see here. It's going to be, what is your favorite and the least favorite thing about keeping bees?
I think my least favorite thing is putting on that darn respirator to go out and do OA vapes. I can't stand the heat, and I can't stand the I don't know. I just feel very claustrophobic with that respirator on, but you don't want to take it off while you're doing OA vape.
Oh, yeah.
You have to be careful with Formic Pro too. It can put off some strong vapors, even though it's just on strips. The heat is, I dread it sometimes. I really do. I try to get out there as early in the morning as I can. I know they tell you, you got to beekeep between the time of 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. Yep. Yeah, if you want to pass out and get heat stroke, yes. But we get out. I don't care. The foragers are just going to have to take me away because I can't stand the heat.
Oh, yeah. A lot of times I go out and see my bee at 8 a.m. sometimes.
Oh, yeah. We're out there sometimes at 7:30. And sometimes I'll go just at sunset because it's a little bit cooler. But let me see. What else you said my least favorite?
And your favorite thing.
And my favorite thing. My favorite thing. Gosh, what is my favorite thing? I just love going in. I think I get most excited when I see drones in the spring. I think that is the most exciting time for me because I know that spring is on, and I love watching the blooms of the plants and the flowers and the trees. I have become much, much more aware of what we have, the flora growing in our area. As a matter of fact, I shared with you before we got on about the Picture This app. I've learned a lot more about flowers and herbs and what some people call weeds that are not necessarily weeds. So I love the spring. It's my favorite time of the year, and I love seeing drones. Unless it's in a laying worker colony.
Yeah. Because a lot of times whenever you see drones, it's really starting to get going.
Oh, yeah. That's when you know it's going. And that's when you know that you can do splits and that they're going to, it's fun to watch. It's fun to watch them kick them out, though, in the fall, too.
I see that happen all the time during the fall time.
Yeah.
So whenever in springtime, whenever you see drones, your colonies are most likely strong to be raising them. So that means there's a good chance you're going to be able to do your splits. And
you're absolutely right with that, because if you see drones in the spring and the summer, you pretty much know you've got a good, strong colony as long as you've got some good brood in there. Right. But the brood pattern is probably one of the things that I have learned to pay attention the most. And I don't know. I guess it took me longer than the average person to really figure out, but it's just neat how they start in the center and then they work their way out. And just when you're seeing the outer cluster capped, the middle is empty, and people immediately look and say, "Oh my goodness, that's a bad brood pattern." No, it's not. Look closer. There's eggs in there,
Right.
and learning to spot the queen. I've had I've just been very, very fortunate. I think one of my favorite things about beekeeping has been the people.
Hmm.
That has got to be my favorite thing. I have never met a better group of people. Um, I have made some of the best friends. Even my daughter noticed it. She says, "Mom, you've made a lot of good friends beekeeping." I said, "Yes, I have, honey." And I said, "They seem like good, honest, true friends." Um, and it's nice to have that network, you know.
Right. Absolutely. Hey, Tom, and Melissa.
Hey, Tom and Melissa.
Yep, our bee community has a lot of good people, honest folks, a lot of good
Hmm.
people sharing things, what they do, how they do it. Yeah, we're going to be trying to get up to the expo this year, so I think that's going to be fun too.
We
Cause
had a
last time,
really good time last year. That was our first year as a vendor.
really?
And it was well worth it to go as a vendor. We went
Oh,
if you get a vendor booth, um, you're that pays for two people. We don't get the videos like the paying customers do,
right,
but we register one person to kind of help with the booth so we can go walk around. So we registered Didra's husband. My husband didn't get to go this year. We had just moved his mother up here, and so I went by myself. But we registered Didra's husband, and we were able to get videos through him. So
awesome.
it does. I mean, it really what we made in the vendor booth actually paid our tickets and
Wow.
paid pretty much for our housing and stuff. So it was worth it.
Nice.
But we had such a great time, such a great time. It's always so much fun.
Wow, nice. So is it kind of like simple to get a booth, or is there a lot of, uh,
Yeah, as a matter of fact, all you have to do is email Chris Medeiros. Um,
mhm,
he can send you the link to getting a booth up there. It's a vendor application. If you've been a vendor before, they automatically send you that email with the link. Thank you, Jack and Danae. Thank you. It's a mess right now, but I mean, this is me when I get home from work.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I got the email the other day and got us registered. And what they do is they go through and it's more like an application. You don't pay right away. And then they send you an invoice and then you pay for the booth. And then after we get the booth and register, um, we register one or two other people and we teach them how to do square. Most of the sales that we make, we go through Square, even if it's cash sales. Hey, Brian.
right.
And so we teach them how to use the Square app. Didra is my tech person. And I mentioned to her several times about the website, getting it up. And honestly, we are selling through the soaps so fast
Wow,
that we cannot get them on the web page.
wow,
So I sent her a picture the other day. She wasn't able to be at the farmer's market on Tuesday. My son does farmer's market for me on Tuesday. And then I go do it. Didra and I usually go on Saturdays. So I sent her a picture of all the soap. I said, "This is all the soap we have left." Now, we took four of those totes that are about this big up to the Bee Expo. We have a half a tote left of soap. So I told her we have got to get busy making soap.
hmm, yeah,
And oh, JW is still talking about my jam. That's something else.
yeah,
I put in, there's several things that you can go through in Alabama. I did my serve safe for my cottage food license, and I have to submit all our labels and everything to sell my jams at the farmer's market. So I have all these jams here that I can't sell at the farmer's market yet because
mhm,
I haven't had a day to go to the cooperative extension into the health department. I have to go to the cooperative extension so I can get a grower's permit. We are a membership now of something called Sweet Grown Alabama, that helps to put our name out there and get people to come buy from us. We can also participate in a program for seniors, and they actually get an allotment, like $50 a season to buy produce, and they can buy honey with it too. So we're kind of getting involved in a lot of different areas here. And I'm just, with my ADD brain, I'm just having to break it down and take it one step at a time, because it can be all very overwhelming. So what is this? You can send them to me. DC. I was just saying the other day, I saw cherries on sale because cherries are in season. And, we do not get cherries here. Now, there is a cherry tree that'll grow here. My cherries bloom every year. They're beautiful. I've got Bing and I've got tartan cherry trees, but they don't fruit because it doesn't get cold enough. But that's one of the first things that blooms in my yard. And I'm so happy when I see it. The bees are just all over there, and they just love those cherry blossoms, but I have yet to get a fruit. I got 2 pears off of a pear tree. I actually had some apples blossom this year, but I haven't got apples off the tree yet. So I'm still hoping and praying we get some fruit. Like I said, we got 2 little pears. My grapes are starting to take off. I didn't get to garden that much this year, but I am going for my grower's permit, and I'm looking at possibly getting a high tunnel soon and being able to actually have more in the line of products and plants and stuff at the farmer's market. So I'm looking forward to it. I think next year is going to be a really, really nice season. Who is that? Greg. Hey, Greg.
Good
It's
evening.
good to see you. Good to see you. We missed you at Bruce's, Greg. You should have been there. I threw my back out like 10 minutes into the whole thing. I wore my Old Faithful Birkenstock flip-flops that have hardly any tread whatsoever. And of course, Rusty was around there spraying the water down, keeping the honey off the floor. Well, honey and water makes slick. And I slipped and caught myself. I didn't fall, but I slipped. And when I caught myself, I twisted and messed up my back, and I had to bug out of there about 5 o'clock. I was like, man, y'all, I'm so sorry. But we had a really good time again down at Bruce's. He had a record harvest again. I never want to get as big as Bruce.
Yeah. Yeah, we've talked about that before with other guests too.
I just don't want to have to deal. I've almost got 1,000 pounds of honey myself to push. I don't want to push 11,000 pounds of honey. Although he has been very helpful. He says, you need to go here. You need to go there. And I was like, Bruce, you already got a bunch of places in Dothan. He said, but you've got a Piggly Wiggly. You need to go there and see if you can sell your honey. So I do have honey in the feed store here. The feed store does buy my honey, and they've been selling it. So I do sell it there. Also, there is a guy who owns a meadery in Dothan and an Enterprise. And he has also talked to me, and I told him that I could sell him some 5-gallon buckets of honey. So I've got about 18 5-gallon buckets of honey. So
must have been hot at Bruce's though.
It was hot. Oh my gosh, it was hot.
I can imagine.
I felt so bad for Glade. Glade and Jed and Bracken. Now Bracken came down last year. So he knew how hot it was down here. How bad? Well, it's hot in Utah, but he knew how humid it was down here. So, but Jed, I just got to meet Jed in passing. He was leaving, headed to the airport as I came in. But he was just covered in sweat. I felt really bad for him.
Oh yeah.
And Glade was just drenched.
Oh yeah. If you're not used to it down here, it can it's definitely gonna surprise you.
My 2 least favorite months of the year is July and August in Southeast Alabama. It is just terrible. And my birthday's in August. I'd skip it if I could.
Yeah. August and July, it's tough. But it's so wet heat.
What was that question from DC? Grammy, did you get the new bee yard set up?
think the only bees I've seen have been
We
pests.
have not. And we're trying to plot and decide where my bees are going to go. So Deirdre is getting 3 colonies and put at her house. I'm probably going to put 2 or 3 more out at Jimbo's. And I'm going to try to keep about 12 colonies here. If for those of you that have been to my house, Greg's been to my house, so he knows where I used to have my bees. The one that we did the cutout is in that area. So I wanted to keep it separate until I know that they're okay and that they're not covered like big mite bombs. But Jimbo's property, Greg, as a matter of fact, you came up in conversation the other day as we were standing up by where my bees are about 300 yards from where Jimbo has his bees on his property. And looking at his property, there's a lot of rolling hills, a lot of ridges. And it reminded me a lot of Greg's property and his setup. So I told Jimbo, and I'm sorry, Jimbo is one of my mentees, one of my Hives for Heroes mentees.
Okay.
And so I told him, I said, Greg's set up his land, although he's got more acreage, I said his land is laid out very similar to this and what he's planning for his house. And I said this would be a great area to do queen mating, because he's just got ridges like on all 4 points of the compass like Greg does. And if you've never seen Greg's yard, I encourage everyone at some point in time to go to Greg's in Ohio and look at his land and how he has his bees set up. It's just like miles. It's like a mile and nothing but bees.
Wow.
But Jimbo's isn't as big. But I think it'll be nice to set up like some colonies on all 4 points, and then in the center, kind of like how Greg has. And he's got those tree ridges and the tree edges that would be perfect for DCAs. So I think it would be a great yard to do some queen mating.
DC
But go
said
ahead.
set
I'm
up
sorry.
yards.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we're getting there, DC. I'm hoping we get the bee yard set up like I want it by the fall or by the winter time anyway. I think it's just going to be easier when the bees are somewhat all in their boxes rather than moving them around right now.
Oh yeah.
So
I gotta move some bees. I have some pallets in my last video. I gotta move them and put them in a better spot. I'm gonna put some posts and move them very, very soon.
right. Well, I had bought some some of those stands. What are they called? Easy stands or something. Not at this past expo. I think it was the expo before. And we've got one set up out at Jimbo's property, and they are very sturdy. He milled all of the wood, and he has actually milled some wood for me to bring over and set those stands up. So hopefully that will be in the calendar this fall.
Tree lines are great for bees. They make great freeways for them.
They do. Yes, they do. And I was watching somebody, I can't remember, Nature's Image Farms Party September. September is a busy month for us too, because we have our Alabama Bee Conference in the fall in September. And I've got the Master Beekeeper. I'm going for my journeyman level this year, and that's at the end of July. So it seems like there's always something going on. But I would love to go up there.
Yeah.
It'd be
They
wonderful.
did get it together last year or something. Like I forgot what it was.
He did a creator conference up there.
Right. At his place, I think it was. I saw some. I think they did some live streams there with some people.
Yes.
They got that I saw that. That looked like it was.
And cool. I didn't get to go because it was the weekend of the Alabama Bee Conference. So, and this year at the fall conference, I'm actually doing a class. So I'm doing lotions and potions. One of our one of our master beekeepers in Alabama asked me to take over her lotion and potion class. So I'm going to be teaching that this year at the fall conference in Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
Take care of the farm first.
Yeah. Yeah. Hello. Do you see step by step, Grammy? That's how we get to the Lord's finish line in our lives. Right.
Absolutely. I have learned to kind of step back and not try to do too much at one time. We did kind of get busy there. It seemed like every weekend we were either swarm catching or cutting out, and it's kind of slowed down a bit. I've gotten a few more phone calls, but they never get back with me. They find out I charge for it, and then they don't want me to do it, so they want me to come do it for free.
That's right.
So
So you've been busy with swarm catches this year, right?
yeah, we did. I think we caught we went across town. That was the first swarm of the season. Someone had reached out on Facebook that they had a swarm in their yard. So we went over there. I took Robert and Jimbo. Both of those are my Hives for Heroes mentees. I have 2 new mentees coming on soon. So Jimbo and Robert both have their bees now, but we're not losing that relationship. Hives for Heroes has been just such a huge part of my beekeeping journey, and I'm so thankful for it. Our state leader, Ken Leibowitz, he is fantastic. He just suffered a loss, and his wife passed away a couple of weeks ago unexpectedly. And they're quite young. They're not my age. They're like mid to late 40s. But Ken is a great guy. He is not going to make it to the expo again this year because the Beekeepers Federation, the American Beekeepers Confederation or something is in Mobile this year. And so he's going to be going down there representing Hives for Heroes. But yes, please do keep him in prayer. He made a post yesterday that he was really missing Amy. And you don't have words to comfort people. You can't. But I did let him know that I got an ear and I got 2 ears and I got some shoulders. So I'll be glad to listen. But yeah, I've got 2 mentees coming on. So we'll see. One is in Alaska right now. When he gets back from Alaska, he is going to be hitting the hives with me. And then another one just in Newton. He said he needs mostly help learning how to do inspections. So I'm going to be helping him do that.
So my next question, this topic is I know we all have problems with small hive beetles. So how do you manage that?
So years ago, I don't know if Lee's still in the chat or not. Lee from Kodiak Farms mentioned something called triazicide. Now, everyone has used Grubex that I'm aware of. I know Bruce uses Grubex, and there's been a lot of stuff about Grubex out there, but I had already started using triazicide around the perimeter of my bee yard. I do not put it in the colonies. I do not put it near the colonies. I put it at least 10 to 20 feet away. I have an old vinyl billboard laid down, and that's what my beehives are on. And so I just go out to the perimeter of the vinyl billboard and I sprinkle the triazicide before a good rain. Now, you're supposed to use it before good rain so it soaks into the ground. And knock on wood, I actually have not treated since spring. And honestly, knock on wood, I have not seen a lot of hive beetles this year. Now, Robert had a colony that his got slimed out. I don't know. I haven't put that video out yet going through his colonies with him. I told him that I was going to put it last Thursday, and I didn't get a chance to upload it. But we were going through his colonies. He had 4 colonies. And the last one that we looked at was kind of weak. And I felt like I gave him some bad advice. And I said, give it a week and let's see what happens. And he went out there a little bit longer than a week. And hive beetles had just taken over the colony. So you just have to make sure that you've got good, strong colonies. If you've got
Mm-hmm.
good, strong colonies, they'll fight the beetles off.
That's right.
Now I've seen 5, 6, 2, 3, 5, 6 in there, but I haven't seen the enormity yet that I
Yeah.
have seen in the past.
Same here.
But I think the triazicide has helped. I want to be very cautious though about putting triazicide out, because even though it kills grubs, I don't want it to kill off, like, the lightning bugs or fireflies, whatever you want to call them, because they burrow in the ground too. So you have to be careful when you're putting things on your lawn and everything. But
Hey,
I've not really had a bad problem. I used some oil boards last year. I've used the oil traps. I used Swiffer sheets. But this year, honestly, I haven't put anything out there. Nothing.
me too.
So
So this year we haven't had a too bad problem yet. It hasn't. I've seen a couple here and there, but I've been surprised that there hasn't really been that bad of a problem. Because
right.
a couple years ago, last year maybe, but yes, last year and the year before was really bad with beetles. We just had um, so many beetles; it was just unbelievable. Had a very bad problem, and a lot of my bees absconded because of it. Seems like, because anytime I'd open them up, there'd be a lot of them in there. They'd get in the comb of our larva. They make a mess. I remember one time I had a good colony. Had a nice new little queen, nice new mated queen. It was good colony, and opened it up. Beetles just destroyed the colony, and tried to move them, get rid of all the frames, because the frames are pretty much unusable. I tried to
Yeah.
dump all the beetles everywhere, but I
Hmm.
came back later. They just left, so it was unfortunate. But maybe they found a new home for themselves somewhere.
Yeah.
Hey Keith, just
Hey,
got home
Keith.
from our monthly beat meeting. DC says we will get beetles up here, but they don't seem to do really well in the winter. The pollinators hives will bring them up.
Mm, I bet.
Uh, he says, I don't have a problem with them. Yeah, you're
Feel
lucky.
lucky.
Yeah, you're lucky.
Sometimes I think they're worse than mites.
Yep, yep. That's what DC said. So I think in
Hmm.
many ways they're worse than mites, because mites
Hmm.
you have we have a lot more
Hmm.
things to get rid of them, and
Right. I think we just
beetles,
have more resources and more
right?
tools to
Resources,
handle the mites than we do small hive beetles.
right? We still have some things, like traps, for
Hmm.
them, but a lot of times those traps don't always work.
Hmm.
They catch some of them, but sometimes the beetles will miss
Right.
going into the trap sometimes.
Stan Gore, he's with Hives for Heroes and also an admin at Texas Beekeeping.
Hmm.
Um, he uses diatomaceous earth. He uses all Apame hives, and he puts diatomaceous earth in the bottom trays in those Apame hives, and apparently does very good. He's in Texas, so they get hive beetles there too.
Hmm. Hey, Mark.
Hey, Mark, I
Let's see if
like
I
your
have
name,
any.
Struggling Beekeeper.
Hmm. I like it too.
Hmm. That's
Nice name.
true.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. Sometimes we have our struggles, but that's a good thing about beekeeping is sometimes you'll
Mhm.
struggle and you learn from it.
That's right. That's right. We can all learn a lot about those bugs in a box, right,
That's right.
Greg?
That's right.
I learn
My
something
next
every time I go
uh
in.
question. Let's see here. I'm just looking through my questions. I'm thinking that's probably about
Mhm.
it for my questions. Yeah, that's it. That's good. That went by kind of fast. If anybody has any questions, feel free to put them in the comment section, and we will answer them real quick. We're getting kind of close to our time on here, so very soon we'll get closing out. These tracks go by really quickly. You got it, bugs in a box. Hmm.
Mhm. Those little six-legged spicy sky raisins.
Yeah.
My dog got stung yesterday and he got attacked by my rooster. He just won't learn. He just won't
That's
learn.
bad luck. Yeah.
So no
Well,
questions?
if there's any questions, feel free to put them in there.
So how many colonies are you up to, Grayson? I noticed that you've got quite a few more than the
Mhm.
last time when I saw you.
Oh yeah, my bees are growing.
Mhm.
This year my um bees have been growing really fast. It's unbelievable. I have 13 colonies. 12
Wonderful.
have mated queens, and one is a waiting one. So
Mhm.
most of them have mated queens, and the other one swarmed recently. But
Mhm.
unfortunately, the first time that the queen didn't get back, but there's still a lot of bees in there. So I just put a frame of eggs in there, and they're drawing some more cells.
That's it. That's the
That's what
best
I
thing
do.
to do. Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
That's usually what I usually do. I had
Mhm.
another colony. It was really small. Not I wouldn't say really small. It was decent size. Same thing happened to it. I put a frame of eggs, larvae in there, let them raise themselves a queen again, and luckily they got themselves a queen, a nice mated queen, really good, and they have eggs in there, so that's really good. So that will be good. So yeah, 13 colonies. I'm running out of equipment, so actually today I had to order 40 frames, medium frames. I don't have any more foundation. I don't have any more foundation for a lot of things. The supers. I need to
Mhm.
get some more back. I'm gonna put some supers on this year. I'm not really 100% sure if I'm going to be extracting this year. I'm thinking I'm going to leave it on, but if there's a lot of supers on, I'll extract a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm
Be
just kind of
careful leaving it on. That's one thing I
yep.
warned people in the other night at the meeting. I warned the new beekeepers here. I said, you have to be careful about leaving honey on in Alabama
Hmm.
because you'll get robbers,
That's right.
small hive beetles. So, it's sometimes not a good thing to leave it on. Let's see. We
Yeah,
got some questions over here.
yeah, we do. Let's
Philip
see here.
wants.
Hey, hi, Lisa and Grayson. Lisa, are you going to have a booth at the expo? We actually kind of talked about that a little bit.
Yes, yes, Philip. I actually, probably before you got back on here, I did. I sent my application in just the other day, and I'm waiting to hear back from Chris. So yes, we'll have a booth this year, and we're looking forward to it. Had a great time last year.
Yeah. Carl
When
has the same
we,
question. Or Lisa, are you going to have a stand at? Okay.
yes, yes, Carl, I'll be there. I'll be there.
Yeah, I'm gonna try
I'm
to get
gonna
up there with you too.
Yeah, I gotta find a place to stay. I gotta figure out who all's going because I always
Mhm.
try to rent a house up there and then rent out rooms. We've had some, oh gosh, who stayed with us last year? It's two guys from Bob's Stream that stayed with us. Can't remember their names. I'm so bad with names. They were very
Uh,
nice. I want to say Dennis and gosh, what was his friend's name? I can't remember. Very nice. And of course, Yappy. I had to Yappy sit that
there
weekend.
you go.
So,
What's one
Greg,
thing you do
what's
different
one
this year?
thing you do different this year? I think the one thing that we talked about probably before you got on, Greg, is I was telling Grayson with more colonies, I have to be more intentional about what I do in the bee yard. So I'm not going through 24 boxes and doing inspections on 24 boxes at a time. There's just no way. I've learned that I have a task to do when I go to the bee yard. So those are things that I did do differently. I've learned to streamline beekeeping, and I'm learning every day. Um, what would I do different? Um, hmm, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everything that I had planned on doing this year, besides the grafting, because we did kind of go a little crazy trying that, but it was more of a practice and experiment. Um, I think I would have been more intentional on setting up my cloak board starter and finisher for sure. I wasn't very careful with that. And we found when we were pulling boxes, this is a puzzle to me. I had a queen above the queen excluder, and there was no brood up in the supers. So I'm wondering if that colony requeened itself and the virgin got up into the supers and then couldn't get back through because she was dead on the queen excluder. So we found that one out at Jimbo's. But the one thing that I would do different, I don't know. I haven't really thought about it because I've been so intentional with everything I've done this year. I'm sure I'll come up with something though, Greg.
Yeah, me too. I can't. When somebody asks me a question like that, I can't come up
I
with.
know, I know. It's such a it's almost a
Yeah.
and you really have to kind of think back on what you did and what you wanted to do. But I kind of planned out things the way I wanted to do them this year. And so far, I think the biggest thing is we didn't get our honey house done for the extraction. And so we will do that differently because we will not extract inside my house. I mopped my floor 4 times and we are still squeaking going through the house. Even though we had cardboard down, it's like you're going to get honey everywhere.
Yep.
It doesn't matter, even as neat as you try to be.
Right. I had a queen fly off the other day, and she flew into another box. I needed a queen. Or let me rephrase again. The other day, and she flew into another box. I needed a queen, and I found her tonight when checking my bees.
Well, that was nice of her. She just wanted to share the love. She's being a mother hen. Yeah, that's one way to sanitize the floor. It is antibacterial.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. Well, I guess we are going to get close to just go ahead and wrapping this up. I don't see any more questions. If a question pops in, we'll try to answer it quickly if I see it in time. Thank y'all all for checking in tonight. This has been a awesome chat. Very fun, a lot of topics, some questions here that we're able to quickly answer. So I appreciate everybody watching, and I appreciate you, Lisa, for taking the time to join me tonight.
It was my pleasure, Grayson, and thank you for inviting me. This has been a lot of fun. I miss doing live streams.
Yeah, they're fun. You get to interact with the bee community, and like we were kind of talking about earlier, the bee community has a lot of good people, a lot of honest people, and these chats and the videos really showcase that.
It sure does. It really does. Lots of good people here.
Lots of good people, indeed. I do have Lisa's channel link. If you don't know her, please check her out and subscribe. Click that like button on her videos. And while you're here, if you're not subscribed, please go and hit that subscribe button and smash that like. Helps me out, and we appreciate all the support, people who watch the podcasts. And again, thanks for Lisa for joining tonight. I had a pleasure doing this interview, and thank you all for watching.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank y'all for watching.